is Valley News Live at 4.
Bundle up those trick-or-treaters. We're in for a chilly weekend ahead. We begin this afternoon with thick fog from this morning. In fact, it was so thick that an area school started 2 hours late. As you can see in this picture, those trees were awful hard to see. Nothing foggy when it comes to Hutch Johnson's forecasting, though. He's here to talk about tonight's conditions. Hutch, where are you?
Yeah, hi, that was tough to see. Don't adjust your television screens. That was a photo from around the area, and right now things have cleared off nicely. And our weather is as good as it's going to be through much of the weekend for some of us right now, so get out and enjoy. Here's a look at the fog this morning. You can see in the green the pea soup that was out there in Lakes Country. Zero visibility all the way into the early afternoon from the wee hours of the morning. Now here in the valley and points west, it wasn't nearly as foggy. You can actually see it on the visible satellite imagery here, burning off or evaporating as that sun finally started to warm the lower atmosphere. And speaking of warming the lower atmosphere, if you want warmth, well, you grab the old station wagon, head out to Dickinson. It'll be 75 degrees there. The bananas on the trees, you can have a few of those and some coconuts. 50s here in the central part of Minnesota. Frankie saw more fog today. Thanks again for sharing your photo. Now the forecast for tonight. We will cool off, but it won't be as cold. We have south winds that'll keep us milder. We have clouds moving in. A cold front's on the way. And by Halloween, it gets a little tricky. I'll have hour-by-hour details, Mike, on what you can expect for Saturday as a cold front moves through. And on Sunday, could see a few flurries, but we're more concerned about that wind and that cold for your trick-or-treaters. Details in a bit.
I thought we had a nice day today, but Dickinson, wow.
75.
Pretty nice, thanks.
Yep.
In the news today, a 35-year-old Fargo woman has been charged with attempted gross sexual imposition involving a 12-year-old girl. Authorities say Carissa Vasquez got the girl drunk and asked a man to have a threesome with her and the girl. Vasquez stated that she intended to have sex with the girl and the other man. However, the man refused to have sex with either of them. Vasquez told that investigators that the girl blacked out before anything sexual happened. Students at an elementary school in Bemidji were in lockdown for a time today while police searched a home near the school off of Mill Street Northeast. The lockdown ended as soon as police were finished. No one was arrested. Police say the case remains under investigation. The man who prompted an hours-long standoff earlier this month in North Fargo, leading to a shelter-in-place, won't face any charges in the incident. Cass County State's Attorney's Office tells us that Kerry Knutson won't face charges, and they consider the case to be closed. It started Tuesday night, October 5th, when police went to the 700 block of 14th Street North on a report of a man firing at least one shot in a home with a woman and child inside. Knutson later told us that he wasn't even in the home at the time and he never fired a gun. A candlelight vigil is being held tonight at Horizon Middle School for Jacoby Blake. Blake unexpectedly died last week. The Facebook group that's hosting tonight's event asks everyone who attends to bring candles, posters, and anything you think of that may remind you of Jacoby or mental health awareness. That event starts at 6:30. The U.S. House and Senate were not in session today, leaving any progress for both the bipartisan infrastructure bill and the president's Build Back Better framework to next week at the soonest. President Biden, meanwhile, is in Europe one day after making a last-ditch effort to unite his party around the path forward. Skylar Henry has the very latest from Capitol Hill.
The White House continues to push the $1.75 trillion Build Back Better framework.
Now we have in front of us a historic opportunity in this very moment.
The latest plan includes the Democrats' top social spending priorities like universal preschool, an extended child tax credit, affordable housing, and it boasts a $500 billion investment in climate change initiatives, which the president hoped to tout at the UN Climate Conference in Glasgow, Scotland next week.
The United States is back to wanting to be a leader in the movement to address climate change.
But congressional Democrats remain gridlocked on the path forward over the social spending and bipartisan physical infrastructure bills, with some already expressing disappointment over slashed proposals.
What are the things that I wish were in this package? I got a long list, but paid leave, it breaks my heart.
AARP released a statement saying, "We're outraged it doesn't lower prescription drug prices," while Republicans continue to bash the social spending bill.
Trillions of dollars in spending, major expansions of government agencies, and even more inflation that will lead to higher costs.
Some House progressives say they're not sure all 50 Senate Democrats are on board.
We need a little bit more than an IOU.
The bill is passed.
Congress passed an extension on surface transportation funding before Sunday's deadline, then adjourned, pushing off votes to next week at the earliest. Skyler Henry, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
And the White House says the Build Back Better bill will be fully paid for in part through taxes on the wealthiest corporations and individuals. Business Roundtable, a nonprofit consisting entirely of business professionals, say that higher taxes would seriously undermine U.S. growth and make it harder for companies to invest in innovation and workers. Here at home, North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum has called a special legislative session starting Monday, November 8th. The governor says it will focus on redrawing state legislative district lines, allocating $1 billion in American Rescue Plan Act funds, and discussing natural gas infrastructure. Burgum says that the deal has been reached, but that 80% of the ARPA dollars are still left for debate. For months, legislative leadership and the executive branch have been negotiating whether to go with a special session with unlimited days or have the legislature reconvene and use the unused 4 legislative days for spring session. The Food and Drug Administration has approved Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine for children ages 5 to 11. The FDA's move comes after its advisory committee voted to recommend the vaccine for children. The committee concluded that the benefits of the vaccination outweigh its risks. Pfizer says in tests its vaccine was nearly 91% effective at preventing symptomatic illness in children, adding that it appears to hold up well against the highly transmissible Delta variant. The decision, along with an okay from the CDC next week, would pave the way for kids to start getting shots by early November. Queen Elizabeth has been advised to rest for the next couple of weeks. Buckingham Palace saying that doctors have advised that Her Majesty can continue to undertake light desk-based duties, including some virtual audiences, but no official visits. The Queen resumed work 3 days ago with virtual engagements carried out from Windsor Castle. It was her first official engagements in a week since being ordered to take time off by her medical team. The 95-year-old British monarch went to the private King Edward VII Hospital in London last week for what was described as preliminary investigations. The United States Postal Service is doing something in one part of Minnesota in hopes of cutting down the rising number of mail carriers being bitten by dogs. The program gives dog owners the option to put an orange or yellow sticker on their mailbox, alerting the mail carrier to a dog on the property.
You know, I know a lot of people got dogs last year and they may have not been as well socialized because we couldn't socialize them. So I can imagine that that has affected the dog bites. At the end of the day, I just kind of wanted to make it a smoother process so I didn't have any issues, the mailman didn't have any issues.
The Postal Service says the program has been a great success. They also say that to avoid a possible attack, some dog owners have opted off of delivery altogether and instead are paying about $150 a year to pick up their mail at a post office box. A North Dakota school resource officer is connecting with students at New Salem High School in a unique way. Deputy David Tomlinson, known to the students as just Tommy, has reached what he calls a major high school milestone. A set of senior pictures, just like the kids, that's bringing some joy to that community.
The senior pictures idea was just another way to let the students know that, you know, we're not only law enforcement, we're also here to kind of understand what they go through.
The pictures will be used in this year's yearbook. You can have a say in which photos are selected. Go to the Morton County Sheriff's Department Facebook page and vote for which ones should be in the yearbook. Fargo Force founder and owner Ace Brandt will be remembered tonight at a memorial hockey game. Brandt passed away on October 16th and leaves behind a big impact to the local hockey community. 2 Force jerseys will be displayed at center ice tonight, one from 2008, that's the year the team was established, and a current season's jersey. Both will include Ace's name, and an 08 on the back of a third jersey will be framed and mounted in the Fargo Force locker room. Who doesn't like a cute baby video, right? Up next on Valley News Live at 4, a baby makes his presence known during a Minnesota lawmaker's Zoom meeting.
And we saw some fog across the valley. These wind towers you can see faintly in the distance rising above the fog. Thanks for sharing your photos of all of the gray skies this morning. We had some milder temperatures today. I'll have details on how that changes as the weekend draws near right after this.